Hello, Namaste. I welcome you all to this session. I welcome you all to this session of Gurubodha. And on behalf of us, all of our students, I cordially welcome Dr. Gururaja sir to this session. Good evening and Namaste, sir.
Namaste to everyone.
So this session is brought to you by EasyAyurveda.com. I dedicate this and all of my works at the holy feet of Dr. A. Chandrasekhar Udupa. And I cordially welcome Dr. Raghuram sir to this session as well. He's the Chief Content Officer of EasyAyurveda.com. So coming to the topic of today, some student had posted, according to the research, gut microbiota is crucial for our health and disease. We inherit the microbiome from our parents, I mean hereditarily. Cesarean section, the deliveries will not allow good biome to pass to the offspring. For that, and there was another continued question of like how can we improve our gut microbiome and reduce disease causing gut biome with Ayurvedic dinacharya and rutucharya. So this proves, or this question itself states, that there is gut microbiome and there are good bacteria and also bad bacteria in the gastrointestinal system, and so that is proven. For that, there was to the question of whether the gut microbiome is passed down, and if the newborn baby is missing the gut microbiome due to the cesarean section. Dr. Vasanta Reddy had written, I'm not sure if microbiome can be inherited from parents. Microbiota may be of maternal origin, like through breast milk. Does research say that father also contributes? If you say it is inherited or hereditary, it refers to the genes. Maternal inheritance, that is, genes from only mother, is possible through extranuclear DNA inheritance, where the maternal DNA comes from the cytoplasm of the ovum. However, microbiome is somatic in nature. Microbiota are of gut origin. During pregnancy, nutrients from the mother go through the placenta through maternal blood circulation. So I think the microbiome through the mother happens postnatally through milk and not through genetic inheritance or hereditary, as the latter happens through the genes. Having said this, the field of microbiota is rapidly growing and there is a lot to learn. So out of all, probably the underlying thing is that, this theory of gut microbiota is still in the developing stage. There's also like concepts like fecal transplant, where fecal matter of a person with good microbiome is transplanted into that of a patient. And microbiota, just to give few references here, microbiota can be classified into gut microbiome, oral microbiota, and respiratory and skin microbiota. And a vast number of microorganisms, including bacteria, yeast, viruses, coexist in various sites of human body. And human gut gathers around 100 trillion microorganisms. And functions of the gut microbiome, it is stated that they play a major role in host physiology, metabolism, and nutrition. It's still, because it is still an evolving science, there's not much is 100% correlated. Just some people are trying to establish a relationship between this healthy microbiome and or unhealthy microbiome with certain diseases. And alteration in the gut microbial community is linked to a number of intestinal conditions, including cancer, obesity, etc. And so that is one part. So with this introduction, I'd like to bring in Raghuram sir to this session. And Raghuram sir, can you please help with the initial description of gut microbiome and if there is any Ayurvedic correlation to it?
Thank you. This is an interesting topic, the question posted in the group. So later, we thought it is a very important topic to handle as well. You have given the sufficient introduction for gut microbiome, and all of us know what it is. Let's jump straight into some facts which are very interesting about gut microbiota, which I've compiled. So studies tell that the gut microbiota, or the bacterial cells in the body, the helpful bacterial cells in the body, are 40 trillion in number, across 30 trillion human cells. So 40 trillion bacterial cells against 30 trillion human cells. So that makes a human body more of bacteria than of human cells. So we are more bacteria. So let the bacteria be proud for the moment. And we are speaking about the healthy bacteria as well. So there are up to 1,000 species of bacteria which exist in our body. Microbiota not only covers bacteria, but also various other organisms like viruses, fungi, etc. And yet another stats tell that altogether, when we put the bacteria in our body, a weight calculation, they sum up to 2 to 5 pounds, roughly 1 to 2 kg in weight. That is roughly the weight of a brain. So here the microbiota or the bacteria function as an extra organ. So they weigh as much as a human brain weighs when we put all the bacteria in the body. So it's an extra organ. The bacteria flora itself is an extra organ. So where we need to give importance to that tells this. And then we speak about microbiome diversity. Like diversity is the more the number of varieties of healthy bacteria we have in our system, the more it is healthy. So this we call it as microbiome diversity, and higher the microbiome diversity, the better the health. So that is one point which we need to see. And then coming to yet another term related to this microbiota is dysbiosis. Dysbiosis, wherein it is an imbalance between healthy and unhealthy bacteria. So there are both types of bacteria, healthy bacteria and unhealthy bacteria in our system. When there is an imbalance in these bacteria, we call that as dysbiosis, and that is not good to health. So dysbiosis is often considered to be a causative factor for many systemic diseases like weight gain and also diabetes and more. So there is a study conducted on the microbiomes. So this connects with what Vasanta Reddy madam had explained. So gut microbiome differs completely between identical twins. So when we see identical twins, the gut microbiome in baby A and baby 2, they will totally differ. In one of the tests or few tests, one twin, identical twin, was found to be obese, and the other baby was not obese. So that was one study. So that indicates that there are differences in microbiome biome, and it is not genetic. And there was an experiment on mice also. These twins, one obese and one non-obese twins, from those children, the microbiota was removed and injected into mice. So the mice in which the microbiota extracted from stout baby was injected, that mice grew stout, and the microbiota extracted from the thinner individual, when it was introduced into the body of the mice, so that mice did not grow stout. So all these things are drawing to certain conclusions about the understanding of microbiota. So interesting things. There are unhealthy species in the gut microbiota as well. This is very important. They produce a chemical known as TAMO, TAMO, so all capitals. So that translates to trimethylamine N oxide. So this unhealthy species of gut microbiota produces TAMO, so which blocks the arteries, and causes heart attacks and strokes. So that is one thing. And yet another study, very interesting study, showed that diversity of microbiome dropped suddenly before the onset of type 1 diabetes. So just at the point of onset of type 1 diabetes, the microbiota or the diversity of the microbe came down. That also shows that as long as the diversity of microbiome is maintained in the body, so it is immune to diabetes. The person might not have diabetes. So that was one thing. So even when people ate the exactly same foods, their blood sugar could vary greatly. So this may be due to the different types of bacteria which are present in their gut. And very interesting things. Why I'm pointing out these things is I'll just connect these things to the Ayurvedic perspective, a hypothetical discussion. So some species of microbiota in the gut produce neurotransmitters, mainly serotonin. So it is considered as an antidepressant neurotransmitter, serotonin. So that is produced by the gut microbiota. The gut microbiota has many like beneficial things which they do in the body. Among them, these are the things. Straightly, I'll go into the Ayurveda perspective. So without wasting much time, so I'll try to put things together in 5 to 10 minutes. So as Dr. Hebbar said, and as we all know also, many functions like heart functions, brain functions, immune health, and weight balance, and a lot more things are contributory to microbiota. It breaks the sugars, it breaks the fibers, and a lot more things. All these functions are caused by the microbiota only when the microbiota are in a state of health or in a state of balance. Now coming to what we are discussing about the microbiota, they are focused totally in the large intestine or the colon, mainly in the cecum. This large intestine is considered as, or the gut is considered as the Vata zone. So this is where the Vata stays. This is where the Vata operates from in our body. So we know a famous quote, Vayus Tantra Yantra Daraha. Vayus Tantra Yantra Daraha. So that means to tell that Vata is a formula which controls most of the activities in the body, and Vata does that by staying in its primary center, that is the colon. Okay. So and then when we see this from the microbiota perspective, what is Vata doing? Vata is controlling all the other subtypes of Vata by being in its place, that is from the colon itself. Vata is controlling the other subtypes of Vata. So like Udana Vata, when it is controlling the Udana Vata, the chest organ functions, like the functions of the heart, the functions of the lungs are maintained. When it is controlling the Prana Vata or Prana, Vyana and the Samana axis, it is controlling the brain functions and also the endocrine and immune functions. Mainly the Vyana and Samana axis, when it is controlled, when Vayu controls this, or when the Vyana and Samana axis, these two Vayus and their interrelationship stays balanced, most of the endocrine and immune functions in the body run in an unhampered way. So Apana, so we can see its own balance. Apana Vayu has its own functions. It operates in the lower zone. So when we see that Vata primarily seats in the large intestine or the colon, and from there it controls the other Vayus, though I am not trying to compare Vata with the microbiota, but the microbiota are located in the Vata zone, and from there they are controlling many activities. The main supportive functions of the microbiota is on the heart, brain, and also the endocrine system, and also the immune system. When we see through the functions of Vata in the shloka Vayus Tantra Yantra Daraha, we know that it is controlling, the Vayu is controlling the other subtypes of Vata. Niyanta Praneta Cha Manasaha, it is controlling the mind functions, it is controlling the brain functions, it is controlling the heart functions, it is controlling the Indriyas and lot more. So here a balance of microbiota can be compared to the balance of Vata in the colon. So this also complements each other. So maybe a sorry, the Vata balance complements to the microbiota, or the microbiota complements to Vata. Why I'm putting these things in a similar term is senior professor S.N. Oja sir once has said that these endocrine functions or the hormonal functions, the functions, they cannot be compared exactly with Vata, but they can be considered as Vata Dharmiya. That means they are doing the exact functions like Vata is doing. Vata Dharmiya. So they carry the properties and the functions of Vata. So here also I am putting the same words. Microbiota is having the Vata Dharmiya properties. So they have the properties of Vata. So rushing through the things, when microbiota are balanced, so these functions and organs, what we mentioned, the heart and the brain and the endocrine system are balanced. Similarly, when Vata is controlled in the colon, all the organs and the tissues function well and are healthy. We know that Basti or the medicated enemas are the best treatment and the remedies for Vata. So probably a hypothesis we can consider, the Basti balances Vata, the Basti also balances the microbiota or the bacterial zone in the gut. Gut brain axis, whenever we speak about microbiota, we speak about the gut-brain axis. So the gut is one thing. Already we have discussed that from the brain, from the gut, it controls the production of certain neurotransmitters. The brain, like neurotransmitters, which are related with the depression and the person having no depression. So when we see through the functions of Vata, so when we can see that it is maintaining the gut-brain axis here. The microbiota is related, so we have so many studies that it maintains the gut-brain axis. What is Vata doing? It is also maintaining the gut-brain axis, being the main seat of Vata. What is enema doing? What is the medicated enema doing? So the Basti. It is also curing many neurological disorders when given through the colon. The enemas are given through the colon, but they are controlling the vital neurological functions. That is why Vasti is the best cure for neurological diseases. Through the references we have seen, Niyanta Pranayata Cha Manasaha, Sarvendriyanam Udyojakaha. So how Vata controlled in the gut can balance the nervous system, can balance the endocrine system, can balance the emotions, can balance the mind, and all those things. When we see, we can compare microbiota to the Vata Dharmiya property. And microbiota also manages the hypothalamus pituitary adrenaline axis. The same thing is done by Vata. And this particular thing, the gut-brain axis, we can consider in Ayurveda as Apana Prana axis. Apana Prana axis. That is very important. And most of the texts, friends, like most authors believe that though there are 5 subtypes of Vata, the most important ones are Prana and Apana only. So the one which is right at the top and the one which is right at the bottom. So we can see in the concept of Avarana also. Avarana is a concept where each subtype of Vata interferes with each activity. So when Apana is in balance, the lower vayu is in balance, it affects the Prana Vata, and when Prana is in imbalance, it affects the Apana Vata. So we call it as Prana Avruta Apana and Apana Avruta Prana respectively. So this also shows that the Prana and Apana, though they are present in the different corners of the body, they have a control over each other. So that's what we can call it as gut-brain axis. And the enteric nervous system. So there is a concept of enteric nervous system in the modern study. It is considered as second brain. There is a nervous system in the intestinal system. It is considered as a second brain. Some even consider that as the first brain. So okay, we can see here that the intestines are compared to the brain, and all the functions of the Vata, so that is are almost similar to the functions of the nervous system. So this again proves the gut-brain axis, and all the nervous disorders are cured by Vasti or enema. So just now I made a mention of that. And coming to another point, the maximum gut flora is located in cecum, that is Unduka. In Ayurveda, cecum is called as Unduka, the first part of the colon. Maximum bacterial flora is located in cecum. And Ayurveda rightly has mentioned about Maladhara Kala. Maladhara Kala. So a layer or some membranes which are there in the cecum and are forming the stools and the feces. And modern study also tells that about 60% of our feces or stools contain bacteria. So we can correlate this bacterial flora, cecum, Maladhara Kala, and the bacteria being eliminated through the feces. And coming to again Vasanta Reddy madam's perspective, as she said, through the breast milk or through the mother itself, this gut flora is formed. And we can see that gut being a soft organ, it is a matruja avayava. So it is a matruja avayava, so that is, it is a maternal organ according to Ayurveda. And I want to read out this one study which tells that gut flora is established around 1 to 2 years of age of a child. The important sugars supporting body functions contained in the milk are digested in colon with the help of microbiota, and it gets from the mother's milk. Okay, so that is a wonderful reference which was given by Vasanta Reddy madam. And one more statement, so which really was impressive while I was going through the studies: breast milk seeds and nurtures the microbiome. These are the words used: breast milk feeds and nurtures the microbiome with beneficial bacteria until it is fully mature. So now once it is mature microbiota, it will take care of itself. Until then, it is nurtured by the breast milk. That is why one of the remedies for improving the gut microbiota or managing the gut microbiota in the child is prolonged breastfeeding. That is advised as a remedy. And coming to the Ayurveda perspective, stanya, so which is the breast milk, is a sub-tissue, upadhatu of sadhatu, and it is derived from ahara rasa. So we can see that, friends, among the functions of Vata, Samirano Agnehe, Samirano Agnehe. So Vata, which is located in the colon, it controls the digestive functions. It controls the digestive functions in the small intestine, including the stomach, the duodenum. It controls the function. So the digestions of the food, breakdown, its assimilation, its absorption, its distribution, all are under the control of Vata and Pachaka Pitta. So here Samirano Agnehe, the Vata located in the Pakwashaya or the colon, is helping in keeping the fire, digestive fire, and in balance. Okay, so that takes care of the Agnisthana. So now coming back to the stanya, stanya is a upadhatu, that is the breast milk is a subtissue of rasadhatu. Where is this rasadhatu formed? It is formed in the amashaya. It is formed in the amashaya. Okay, that is the stomach and the intestines. It is formed, and the health of the stomach and small intestine and the digestive fire there, for the proper rasa to be formed, the agni should be proper, and that agni is controlled from the colon. And again, when we see the rasa dhatu is directly related to the heart or the hridaya, because hridaya is one of the seats of origin of rasa dhatu. So that is, we call it as sroto mula. So when we combine all these points, come to know that from Pakwashaya, the colon, Vata controls the digestion of the food, it controls the digestive fire, it controls the functions of the stomach and intestine. From there, proper rasadhatu is formed. From proper rasadhatu, proper stanya is formed, which is the breast milk. That breast milk takes care of the gut microbiota in the initial years, and that rasadhatu is also linked to the hridaya, being the rasavaha srotomula, and we have seen that microbiota is also managing or keeping the heart functions under balance. So we can tick all those points, combine them in a particular circle, and try to understand this vicious correlation from the Ayurveda perspective. And Astapana Vasti is one type of enema. So that is the decoction enema. So it is said to be one of the best remedies for krimi kosta. Astapana Vasti is said to be, when we read through the indications of Astapana Vasti, krimi kosta is one indication. That is the bad bacterial flora, the dysbiosis which is taking place in the large colon due to the presence of bad bacteria, that is controlled by Astapana Vasti. So again, where that enema is given, it is given into the rectum, it is given into the colon. That enema fluid comes and it is eradicating, it is destroying the bad bacteria from the colon. So that is one reference we have. And Astapanavasti, see, Astapanavasti, among the indications of Astapanavasti, there is Hrudroga, so that is heart diseases can be cured. Unmada, psychosis or insanity, we can call it as Shirashula, headache. Karnashula, that is pain in the ear. Hrutshula, pain in the heart region. Vishamagni, Timira, all these things. Timira is an eye disorder again. All these diseases are cured by our Astapanavasti. So when we see that, so it is very interesting to see that all diseases which can be managed through the gut flora are also managed through Astapanavasti, which is given in the Vata zone. So a couple of points to end with. So Basti may be the best to balance the microbiome. Basti will be the best treatment because the enema fluids will contain milk, jaggery, sesame, and also oil, which support the microbiome. So that can be taken as a hypothesis. And coming to the remedies for the imbalance of the gut flora or to manage the gut flora is first is anti-vata and anti-pitta diet. Very importantly, the diet should not be provoking vata or pitta. So apatya will be pro vata and pro pitta. So the vata increasing and pitta increasing foods will definitely be the foods which will be disturbing the microbiota. Modern science also has said that the diet we take has a major role to play in the balance of microbiota. So second one is Vasti, as I already discussed, the enema will be the best treatment. Vega, so the people should be advised not to withhold the urges of defecation and also the urination and the fart. As far as possible, there are so many Vegas which should not be controlled. Among them, these are very important, and very important is to have stress control. And we have Nidanarthakara rogas, like one disease leading to the causation of the other disease. So it is very important if the person is suffering from Atisara, that is diarrhea many times, Grahani, so diseases of small colon once again, and Pravahika, dysentery, Agni-mandya, low digestion fire, and Agni Dushti, the contamination of the digestion power by the doshas. All these things should be promptly treated. If these diseases are promptly treated, the gut flora will be maintained. Excessive use of Pippali, Kshara and Lavana has been contraindicated in our Shastra. So Piperlongum, alkalis and salt representing their groups respectively should not be consumed in excess. Viruddha Ahara, mutually antagonistic foods should not be consumed. And the treatment shall be given on the lines of Rasavaha and Purishavaha Sroto Dushti, contamination of Rasavaha Srotas and Purishavaha Srotas, if at all there are problems related to the gut flora. And Dushta Stanya chikitsa, the breast milk. So in Ayurveda, the Dhatri, the wet nurse, the breast milk, its qualities, how to address the deformities of or the contamination of the breast milk has been given. So as we have seen that the breast milk forms the important foundation of the gut flora in the initial years, it is very important to identify the Stanya Dushti and treat it accordingly. And treatment of krimi roga, if the bad krimis are there in the system, the bacteria or the virus or the fungi, whatever, those diseases shall be treated promptly. We know that the Ayurveda, krimi, nidana and the modern aspect of bacteriology do not match exactly. I'm not trying to compare them. And patya, coming to the dietetics, the do's and don'ts which are explained in Atisara, Grahani, Agni Dushti, Krimi Roga, all these things should be followed. And in coming to Vata Grahani is a type of Grahani disease. Again, a cross reference here. In that, among the symptoms of Vata Grahani, Kriddhihi Sarvarasanam, the patient wants to take foods of all the tastes. So this is a very strange wish, wanting to take the food which consists of all the rasas. It comes from the mind's demand of such foods. So again that one, and Manasaha Sadanam. So weakness of the mind lethargy or the mind disorders have been mentioned in Grahani Roga, which can also affect the gut flora or when the gut flora is disturbed. And we have seen, friends, like the oil therapy is done on the head, like Shirodhara, Murdi Taila, etc. These relieve the symptoms of the Grahani or the intestinal disorders. That also indicates the Prana Apana axis. And yeah, so I think I would like to end my discussion here about the Ayurvedic perspective of how gut microbiota can be taken on the lines of Vata Dharma, and how the Vata, that is the Prana Apana or the Apana Prana axis should be taken into consideration, and how Basti forms an important game changer in this particular perspective in managing not only the gut flora and all the functions, all the balance functions of almost vital organs like the brain, heart, endocrine system, etc., the immune system, etc., can be managed through balancing Vata at the colon. So that is why I feel it's fair enough to consider gut microbiota as having Vata Dharmiya. Over to you, Hebas.
Thank you, Raghuram sir, for detailed explanation. Gururaja sir, how do you ever consider gut microbiota as a causative factor of disease? There is some theory saying that we have our own theories for digestive disorders. There is Agni, there is Annavahasrotas, there is Kosa, and we have our own treatments. If we are doing our bit from the Ayurvedic perspective, if you understand correctly, then directly or indirectly we will be addressing the other issues also. So your thoughts on this, please.
We cannot simply say that human body is just a human body. Human body also has many living creatures, maybe a microbe level things inside the body or even on the outer surface of the body. Very clearly, Acharyas have said, Loka Purusha Samyavada. This Loka Purusha Samyavada says whatever it is there in the outside the body, almost similar type of things are also present inside the body. So that is also called as Andapinda Brahmandavada. So whatever it is there outside, it will be there inside also. And if you look at the way our acharyas have made us to think in the lines of dinacharya, ritucharya, what are the foods to be taken and how it should be taken, at what time it should be taken. So very clearly acharya has said where to take, what not to take, all these things. And when you're coming to the microbiota of the gut, acharyas have very clearly taken consideration of this, but might have represented in the terms of Agni and all those things. And Ayurveda is very well documented the fact that most of the issues related with human disease concern or anything originally originates from the colon or the udara, and that is also related with the Agni. And we cannot simply say that if Agni is there, it automatically does everything. No, it is always any function. It is carried out by some leader, something, and there are some followers. There are some major factors and there are some minor factors. If all the things are involved, then only we can bring that action. For example, if the aeroplane has to fly, it's just because of its tires, or just because of its fuel, or just because of its engines, or just because of its wings, or just because of its capacity. No, it is totally collective thing. Many components, many factors, multifactorial things are there. They involve in such a manner and produce an activity. So when it comes to the microbiota, definitely acharyas were knowing that there are microbiotas present inside the gut. Many a times that has been taken care by advising very clearly. Acharyas has said, Bhojanante takram peyam. A takra has to be consumed at the end of the food, very typically keeping the load of microbiota inside our gut in order to have a healthy atmosphere, because we will be consuming a lot of food materials, and some food materials also a food for many other microorganisms also. When our gut has a lot of lot of food material, automatically it get attracted towards the microbiota, also gets attracted towards the place where it is available. It's a natural phenomenon. Where there is a water, usually that human civilization started around that, wherever the rivers were there. So similarly, these things will also take place. So that's the reason most of the microbiotas, and even outside from its various food particles also, it comes into the intestines. So once it comes there, and it should be having in a healthy atmosphere to live. Otherwise, they cannot. Because that's the reason why when we take a lot of antibiotics and something like that, then the human, there are the bacteria or the microbiota which is supporting to the human gut activity will be thrown away or destroyed. So that's the reason many times they'll go for some adding some lactobacillus into that or something like that. So it's very clear acharyas were knowing this, but they represented these terms into a different manner. And that's the reason many of the fermented items has been explained in Ayurveda, like Sidu, Shukta, Asava, Arista, all these things, Dhanyamla, many such things have been told, which are all the different varieties of fermented items which are allowed or are advised to consume in order to maintain the microbiota in the gut. That's the reason acharyas are very clever on that part, and it is very well known to them. That's why there is given many concepts like Shunti Siddhatakra, Musta Siddhatakra, then Jiraka Siddhatakra, something like that. These type of many drugs which are supportive to the Agni, which helps in absorption, gut microbiota, supportive things. So all these things they have mentioned, and when to be taken, when not to be taken, everything have been mentioned.
Thank you there, sir. And it adds a whole a lot of information. And one of the very strange correlation that I found was that Musta, that Musta is used in Grahani or irritable bowel syndrome, which is compared as one of the diseases, including irritable bowel syndrome. So it is one of the prime herbs that is used in irritable bowel syndrome. Even in Atisara also Musta is mentioned. And the same Musta is also mentioned as a Stanya, as one of the important herbs of Stanya Shodhana, like for breast milk detoxification, this is used. Even ginger is used for, similarly, Stanya Shodhana, and has an important role to play in this, in the gut microbiome. Patha is another one very frequently used in the Rasavaha Srotodusti, and it is again used in the Stanya Shodhana also. And the very reason that Stanya and Arthava, I mean, let's keep Arthava away for a minute. So Stanya is explained as the rasadhatu, upadhatu, or sub tissue. So all these makes the case firm, directly or indirectly, is that breastfeeding is vital for the gut microbiota. And like Gururaja sir explained, the for fermented foods, it is proven even in the modern that fermented foods like kefir, yogurt, and live active cultures, pickled vegetables, tempeh, kombucha tea, kimchi, and miso, sauerkraut. So all these are explained as healthier foods to have. And another clear indication, like I mean, this was stressed upon by Raghuram sir very clearly, that as much as we have to nourish the healthy gut microbiome, we also have to get rid of the wrong microbiome. So it should be a balance between those two. So that has also been established.
One more important point, sir. So the correlation, as I was speaking about Nidanarthakara rogas, that is a very important concept in Ayurveda, where one disease, when it is neglected, leads to the causation of the other disease. One of the classical examples we have is Atisara and Grahani. So Atisara is diarrhea, so which is related to colon, and Grahani is a disease which is little higher. So like in the small intestines it occurs. So Atisare nivrittepi mandagne rahitashanaha bhuya sandushito vani grahinim abhidushaye. So even after the cure, or when the Atisara is being in the process of cure with some medications or some treatments, or if it is not addressed properly, that leads to the formation of yet another disease known as Grahani. So here we have a link to tell that the different zones of intestines and the intestinal functions and dysfunctions and disorders are connected to each other. When we see the Grahani, it belongs to the zone of Samana Vata, and when we see Atisara, which is happening, it belongs to the area of Apana Vata. So again, each Vayu zones are functionally disturbed by each other and causing these diseases. One important reference from Vata Grahani tells, so Vata Gulma Hrudroga Pliha Shanki Cha Manavaha. So the person suffering from Vata Grahani is suspicious to get another disease called as Vata Gulma. Hrudroga, here very important is Hrudroga, heart diseases. Pliha, enlargement of the spleen or the liver we can consider. So pliha is a word exchangeably used. We'll take it as splenomegaly here. So what is the important observation here is, Atisara, when it is not treated properly, it disturbs the gut microbiota. And when that happens, the control of the Vayu over the Agni in the Agnisthana, so that is in the Grahani, will reduce. The fire which is diluted in the Grahani will lead to the Grahani roga, small intestinal disorder. And the Vata type of Grahani, Vataja type of Grahani, when it occurs and when it goes on for a long session, so like when it becomes chronic, the person is suspicious to hire some other diseases as complications like Vata Gulma. So Gulma is an abdominal disease which manifests in the flanks, in the heart region, and in the navel region, and also in the urinary bladder. The entire abdominal region is covered. It's a painful condition. Vata Gulma, specifically Acharya mentions Vata Gulma. Hrudroga, we have seen the heart health directly connected to the microbiota. Heart health is directly connected to the microbiota according to the modern. Here also, the microbiota are located in the colon, and excess of Atisara will impact the small intestine, causing Grahani, and that Grahani will cause Hrudroga. Here is a big connection given by Ayurveda, how the microbiota disturbance of the good microbiota, good microbiomes, can cause upper intestinal, that is small intestinal disorders, which will lead to the possibility of causation of heart diseases. Take it the other way, as long as the colon health is managed and it is healthy, and diseases like Atisara are treated very quickly and very promptly without neglecting, and the fluid balance, the salt balance is maintained in the body. So the person will not get diseases like Grahani and its consequence Vata Gulma or Hridroga. So this is an important correlation. So what I found in the classics. So where the Agnisthana, so the Vatasthana, the Hridroga, all these things are connected to an axis. Again, it shows the Udana, Samana, and Apana axis to be interrelated with each other. Over to you, Emerson.
Thus far, we have understood various causes or various correlations related with the gut microbiome, and we tried our best to understand the gut microbiome, healthy versus unhealthy in terms of Ayurvedic parameters. Now, as last part of this discussion, we are going to discuss about the ways to revive healthy gut microbiome and also to avoid the unhealthy gut microbiome. Before that, Jai Raghuji, please go ahead.
Namaste. I just want to share a couple of things here from the study that I was going through. It has been, we all know that the consumption of antibiotics have gone up from the last generation onwards. So there are studies that say that the amount of microbiome that was there in the previous generation, it is drastically reduced because of the antibiotic usage. So the antibiotics basically wipe away the entire microbiome in the body. There are certain microbes that are stronger that they survive, but those microbes that were passed on from generations, if we lose them over time, that we will lose a lot of good bacteria. And also another one where they say that it's like a landscaper's logic. When you have too many weeds in the garden, the only way that you can do is not pluck each weed, but put more grass seeds. So the more the grass that comes, it's going to take away the weed space and there'd be no weed. So I think our acharyas think in the same fashion, where they ask us to have more fermented food, increase good microbiome, so that way naturally we will be getting rid of the bad ones. But I think with the antibiotics themselves, I think we are doing a lot of harm with the gut microbiome that we have had for many generations. Thank you.
Very valid and beautiful correlation there. And it is all about balance and balance between the healthy versus unhealthy. And as long as we are taking care of the healthy gut microbiome and that is nurtured, the unhealthy ones ill effect on the body will be automatically reduced. And coming to the summary of ways to improve healthy gut microbiome, we have already had many points. One is that our diet should be a healthy mix of all tastes. It should not be dominated just with like one taste, forgetting the others. Gururaja sir very well explained about the importance of buttermilk. So coming to the buttermilk, if you open the Charasamhita's Grahani chapter, 15th chapter, he has dedicated huge amounts of shlokas to explain the importance of takra in that, and he also has explained takra rista as one of the important remedies for grahani, where takra is made with amlaki, maric or black pepper, etc., and yawani, keram, capsicum that is used to prepare takra rista. So that has emerged as the primary remedy. And like Gururaja sir explained, buttermilk processed with ginger, musta, etc., are also very useful. And very valid point raised was like avoiding unnecessary use or over usage of antibiotics. It has grown up to a level of pandemic in India that antibiotic usage, especially in children, is going out of control. And some pediatricians, some researchers are raising concerns, like how people were taking paracetamol for fever. Now it has become very common to common man just going directly and taking azithromycin for fever, not waiting for a few days to for agni to develop or langana chikitsa. That the importance have not been given, and avoiding Vega Dharana and Vega Udirana together, as pointed out by Raghuram sir, and also and also like a timely treatment of Atisara, etc., and wholesome treatment of Atisara, etc. disorders. We're seeing that some patients, especially with Atisara, etc., it involves the the treatment of whole bacteria. Some people will just stop the medication once the Atisara bout reduces. That is not to be done. And yeah, healthy dinacharya and ruticharya followed with due importance as explained in our shastras, and always maintaining a good health, good healthy gut fire or agni by langana chikitsa and not eating excess or not overeating or undereating. So all these help in having a healthy gut microbiome. Raghunath sir, do you have any point, please?
Yeah, one more point to add up, sir, regarding the dysbiosis. The balance of bad bacteria and good bacteria is a must. Like always, the good bacteria should dominate the picture in the gut. That is very, very important. Dysbiosis is a causative factor for many diseases. And one more thing I want to tell is this good thing about good bacteria is good microbiota. They are taking care of themselves in a very good way. It is also explained that these good bacteria, they occupy the important places in the colon where a bad bacteria can come, sit and attack. So these good bacteria generally don't leave space for the bad bacteria to come and occupy in the colon. Such is the domination of this gut flora, that is a good microbiota, and they are taking care of themselves that their place is not taken by any bad bacteria. Even if bad bacteria enters the system, they go and occupy all those vacant spaces where a bad bacteria can come and sit, so that they don't find space in the system. So this is a beautiful natural mechanism among themselves. They also have a tendency to destroy the bad bacteria, but only when the imbalance goes in favor of bad bacteria, that the good bacteria are harmed in the system, and that leads to many health issues. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Raghuram sir. And before we end this session, final remarks by Gururaja sir, please.
Very important point, as pointed out by Dr. Raghuram. Vata is a abode of Vata is Pakwashya, where the gut contains a heavy load of microbes. And if it is disturbed and destroyed, just like how we are destroying the earth by polluting it in so many manner, if you are doing same type of things even in our ahara, vihara and vichara, disturbing the colon, and those supporting and healthy bacteria and supporting our survival, those microbes are creating an atmosphere internally in such a way that they make us to live and they also live inside us. But when such bacteria have been replaced and then we create such an atmosphere inside, so that type of bacteria won't stay, then quite oppositely, somebody has to get out of those places. So they will just go out of the places because of some our activities, our food concerns, or many other things. So in that area, which is most suitable for the growth or the livelihood of these bacteria or the microbes, definitely the space is open, there is nobody resisting. Automatically the bad bacteria occupies these area because they are potent enough to serve them for their food, for their livelihood. So that's the reason when home is disturbed, automatically all functions are disturbed. That's the reason the Pakwashaya is a home of Vata that needs to be protected properly with this help, and if it is maintained, then Vata could be able to perform all the functions in a very natural manner and very convincingly and a 100% healthy manner.
Thank you so much. Vasanta Reddy ma'am, please.
Thank you, sir, both of you. It is very informative. One question I have is there a relationship between the Prakriti and what microbiome or the amount of microbiome that exists in the gut? Does it vary with Vata, Pitta, Kapha, in terms of quantity and the types of bacteria that inhabit the gut?
Yeah, before Gururaja takes this question, Prakriti and Agni, there is relationship. That Pitta Prakriti person will be having a high rate of metabolism, so he'll always be hungry, or his hunger is very much. Whereas Kapha Prakriti person can tolerate hunger, he can tolerate fasting very well. And Vata Prakriti person, his digestion and the hunger level varies. Gururaja sir, please.
Definitely, we inherit typical characters from our parents and we have a lineage. So, based on that, our tissues will be there. And inside our gut also, we will have an inherited what do you call, packed thing from the parents, which is suitable for the healthy gut. Because, see, you can observe, there are people, they don't suffer from when they eat any nonsense things. But similar type of food, if it is consumed by a person, will easily get diseased and he will have a disturbance, stomach disturbance, and so many things. So it's very clear that one who is having a very strong gut microbe, then definitely he will survive these onslaughts of anything. So this can be happen because of the proper availability of food for those microbes and as well as the area which can be made suitable for their living. So definitely these days in Prakriti also, Kapha Prakriti person will always support for the growth of more microorganisms in his body, and Kapha Prakriti gut also supports a lot of microbe growth inside the body. That's the reason many of the Kapakara aharas are also produce microbes. That's the reason many times when you have a problem with the Kapakara diseases or any infectious diseases, we try to avoid something which is a mucus forming type of things. So all these are in a supportive line that is there. With when there is a pitta is involved, definitely there will be inflammation, and in that condition, automatically the inflammatory areas, many a time that inflammation may be caused by the support of these bacteria, or maybe that inflammation may also harming those bacteria. That's why the person will be suffering. So that's a very close relationship between these things. Definitely, it depends on the prakriti as well as it also depends on the type of microbes inside our gut. It also depends on the source of food what we take and where we live, what type of habits we have. Everything has an influencing factor on that.
Thank you, sir. Raghuram sir, your input, and let's before we end this session.
Yeah, so that one more point to add, sir. Vasanta Reddy madam's question has been beautifully answered by Gururaja sir. No points in addition to that Prakriti question. So finally, I just missed out a point which is very, very important. Ayurveda has mentioned about Pakwashayagata krimi. So Pakwashayagata krimi, the krimis are the microorganisms living in the Pakwashaya or the colon, actually in the context of pathology. So like in Madhavanidana and other texts, when we see in the different types of krimi, Pakwashayagata krimi, their varieties, their size, everything has been given, and what diseases they may produce from the perspective of pathology. So Ayurveda knew that the microorganisms stay or live in the colon among different places of the body. Definitely the microorganisms are there in the colon. Ayurveda knew, but they have not mentioned directly about the useful microbacterium or microbiomes or the bacteria. Directly there is no mention, but indirectly we can see that if Ayurveda knew about the pathological microorganisms that live in the colon, they also knew about the healthy microbiome which are present in the colon. So probably there is no direct mention about that. The krimi chikitsa, that is why helps in balancing the dysbiosis and also getting rid of the bad bacteria so as to balance the good bacteria. So, and already we mentioned about the one of the important uses of Asthapanavasti or the Kashayavasti is the krimi kosta. Kosta is a big thing. The entire digestive tract, wherever the krimi is there, bad krimi is there, enemas, herbal enemas given in the form of Asthapanavasti will get rid of them and help in balancing the good bacteria or the microbiota in the colon.
Thank you, Raghuram sir, and thank you, Gururaja sir, for this input. It was one of the comprehensive session where end-to-end, from the deep pockets of modern science to the Ayurvedic correlation was done, and we established some solutions also to this problem of unhealthy gut microbiome. That brings us to the end of this session. I thank all the participants for making this lively with your interesting inputs and questions. And on behalf of all of our students, my cordial gratitude to Gururaja sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
And my words of gratitude to Raghuram
One
sir.
and all.
Namaste.